Hey, what's up guys? How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. This is my first time trying out Star Trek Bridge Commander on PC. And my first impressions are quite positive and quite impressive, as they would say. One unique feature that really got to me while playing this game was this ability to interact with the crew members, the ship, and just the full immersion of interaction. I highly recommend that you guys get the PC version, because with the Oculus Rift you do have Oculus Touch controller, and the Oculus Touch controller, it's really the best. You see how easy this is to use my finger like that and then go like this. With the PlayStation Move, it's kind of like here and there, it's not that accurate. With the HTC Vive also, the controller's too big and it's not designed to work perfectly with this game. I think when they designed this game they had Oculus Rift in mind, and I'm lucky enough to have Oculus Rift and HTC Vive. By the way, I need to show you guys the HTC Vive. I'll show it to you one of these days. And it's a very unique experience. There is a tutorial. You can go through a tutorial. I highly suggest that you check the tutorial before you do anything else. Graphic wise, you know, the PC version is more superior. It looks better, and it's just more immersive, obviously. In terms of graphics, it will depend based on your PC, like what type of GPU you have, what type of graphics card. But it's really a cool experience. So let me show you just the basics before you jump into a single player and before you jump into a multiplayer. It's really important that you understand what the captain does, what the helm does, what the engineer does, what the tactical person does. So you need to understand all of these crew members and their, you know, what's the word I'm trying to use? See, I totally forgot what I was going to say. To understand their place. What is their place? What is their main job on that chair? So without me kind of butchering this and telling you all this, why don't I just go ahead and show you the basics a little bit, and so you kind of get the idea what it's all about. This is just going to be a basics, like, tutorial, beginning of it for like 30 minutes, and then after that I'll probably do some more, you know, walkthroughs and playthroughs of this. I heard that the multiplayer is really funny. That's something that I definitely need to live stream, because I heard this game, it's a lot of fun online. There's a lot of fun. But before we do any of that, let's click OK. Now let's go to training. Let's go to a training really quick just to show you basics. Let's go start. So we're gonna be presented into a bridge with a bunch of crew members. I think total of 3, including the captain. That's 4. And there's going to be a person explaining all of this to you on the screen. I haven't tried a PlayStation version, but Oculus Rift PC version is definitely much better.
Welcome to the Starfleet Training Simulator. Our system is currently configured to train command crew of Aegis-class starships. Here you may learn about the roles and responsibilities of each officer on the bridge, and how to operate all of the controls of their command stations. Feel free to experiment and get comfortable with the ship here in the simulator before moving on to the real thing.
Alright, so the first thing I'm going to show you is the captain. So you have 4 crew members, including me, captain, engineer, tactical, Actually, that's the engineer. That's the weapons, and that's the helm. The helm is the one that's operating the ship. Like this person right here is going to be responsible for moving the ship up and down, taking us with the warp speed to a different location. This person right here will be responsible for the shields, will be responsible for firing the weapons, and then this person right here, which is the engineer, will be responsible for powering up the engine, so that way the helm right here can get us to the location that we need to go. And the person, my job of a captain, is somebody that has to oversee and make sure everybody's doing their job. So that is my responsibility. This is Captain Kirk speaking. This is Captain 4K speaking. So here, let me just show you the basics with the captain. Here we go.
As captain, you are in overall command of the crew. It is your responsibility to communicate with and to coordinate the actions of the other officers on the bridge. You'll receive important updates on mission status and also have direct control of the main view screen.
Alright, so here they're showing you what different types of buttons you can use here that you have on your chair. There is the red button here, that's the red alert if you want to press that.
Raising shields. Torpedoes
Obviously, you don't want to use that. That's only if we're like in a critical situation. There's the objective one right here. This is the objectives. You click on the objectives. And on the objectives, you will find out the status of your ship and stuff like that. Right here on the status, you can see your shield levels, your engine power, your phaser range. So that way you can tell your engineer to get the engine fixed. You can then check and see the status of your torpedoes, tell your tactical weapons person here to make sure that their weapons are all intact and everything. So here, let me just show you really quick. He's going to show you this. He's going to talk about it. So this is the objective one right here. So your job as a captain is to oversee all of them, and you can even take over some of them if they like are not doing their job. You can take over that chair. You can continue yourself. So here.
The captain's objectives feed contains vital information about your ship's mission. Updates from support crew and Starfleet Command are reflected here, so that you will always know what your crew needs to accomplish. Open the objectives feed now.
So here, as I mentioned earlier,
some objectives also have more detailed information. Sometimes you, as captain, must choose between different ways to complete an objective and direct your crew accordingly. In all cases, your crew depends on you to keep them informed of their goals. Select the objective for more information.
So right here, we can select the objective.
Sometimes you will receive additional information to help with your mission. Keep an eye out for your intel feed, located near your objective readout for tips and hints.
So this basically, the objective is your missions. Like, okay, what missions to take on? Is this like a difficult mission, severe mission? Like you have to look at your ship, you have to look at your stats and everything. So you get to choose what type of missions to go with. Then you have the hail right here.
As captain, you can answer a hail when messages from Starfleet or other ships are received. If the message is accompanied by video, it will be displayed on the main view screen.
You'll see a lady talking right now. So I click on it, and then whoever it is, Klingon, whoever it is, you answer that call.
Aegis. This is Captain Uku of USS Huxley. Our system checks are complete. We're ready to go. We'll stand by and follow you out when you're ready.
Then you also have the external view.
At any time while on the bridge, you can use an external view to see what is going on outside and around the ship. Hold the external view button now.
And this is another cool feature. I like the external view because you can see when there's a battle going on between the two ships. You can see around you 360. You can turn around, check your ship, make sure that your engines are okay. You can see if there's anybody on your tail. So it's a pretty cool feature. I like this. It's pretty unique. It's a very immersive VR game, in my opinion. Now the ship status, you can check the status of the ship. You can use the local map to see where you want to go.
As captain, you have the same maps at your fingertips as your Helm and tactical officers. You may use these to aid communication, to identify a target for tactical, or to specify a destination for Helm. Targets and nearby destinations are selected from the local map, which shows objects of interest around you. Open the local map view. Now touch any object on the map to select it as your target.
So I can, for example, if I see some targets right there, I can select them, I can scan them, or I can engage them. So
some orders you give to the crew require you to first designate a target or destination, exactly as you just did.
It's pretty self-explanatory once you get a hang of it. And the reason I say go with the Oculus Rift Touch, it's because Oculus Rift Touch, it has more unique, easier way of controlling this game. Instead of using the that big gigantic HTC Vive controller or PlayStation Move controller, there's nothing wrong with either of them. You can use them as well, but the Oculus Touch is the most responsive one. It works really well, and I highly recommend that everybody use the Oculus Rift PC version if you're going to be playing Star Trek Bridge Crew. Alright, so let me show you some of these other members. There's this other options you can do. You can hold the X button right here on your controller, and then you can give the command. Hold on. First, let me go ahead and exit out of this. Let me go to the station menu. Now, let me show you. Now, the whole basis of the captain is really for you to oversee your crew, to make sure they're doing their job. Okay, every single one of you, make sure you're doing your job. And then if they're not doing their job, you can take over, actually, if you want to. Now let me show you the Helm. Helm is definitely one of my favorites because you're in charge of a ship. Well, I mean, you're in charge of controlling the ship, moving the ship. Obviously, the captain is the one, me, that's in charge of the ship. But the Helm is the one that's helming and steering the ship.
As helmsman, you are the ship's navigator, responsible for maneuvering the ship and navigating within and between star systems.
Damn straight.
Your crew depends on you to get the ship wherever needed, to avoid collisions with hazards in space, and to maneuver for tactical advantage in combat situations.
So, basically, I can go ahead and maneuver this ship any which way I want. For example, like here, I can turn it left, I can turn it right, or I can get it closer to that other ship. Also, depending on your engineer sometimes will have to boost your engine so that way you can get a little bit more of speed. Here we can go down a little bit. And you can go look externally if you want to as you're moving the ship. So let's, for example, look at maneuvering here.
Your basic maneuvering controls allow you to give the ship forward or reverse thrust, to steer the ship to port or starboard, and to move the ship up or down on its vertical axis. The amount of thrust you can give depends on the amount of power your chief engineer allocates to engines.
Just like I said.
The more power your engines have, the more responsive the ship will be. Maneuvering controls are only available when your local map view is active. The throttle controls your speed and also allows you to reverse or make a full stop.
Here, let's do that really quick. Here, I'll do the here, let me grab it. Here, I can move my ship around a little bit. Look at the moon. Look at it externally. Move down a bit. You can also look at the external view as you're doing that. So it's pretty cool. So that's pretty much what the person that's at helm navigation does. It's navigating the ship. So, but you as a captain, you can pretty much take over any of these crew members, and you can do it yourself if you want to. And honestly, this might be confusing for somebody who's just beginning to play this game. But once you get a hang of it, once you understand where everything is, it's like a second nature. You're really going to have so much fun on the multiplayer. That's what I heard. Once you understand where everything is, then it's like a second nature. It's more fun. And I highly recommend that you use a Oculus Rift on the PC. It's just a much better experience on the Oculus Rift. You're getting a better, higher resolution, better graphics, and it's so much smoother and easier to move and control the ship. There's another thing called the impulse travel, where you can click on the map and see if there's any targets here, and you can travel. Also, depending where you want to travel will depend on the engineer here.
Your ship's impulse drive allows you to travel quickly between planets and other points of interest within a star system. To travel via impulse, you will first need to plot a course by choosing a destination on the impulse map. Once the course is plotted, you will then need to align your ship with the appropriate heading and engage the impulse drive. Be aware, the impulse drive cannot be engaged unless the chief engineer has allocated sufficient power. Switch to your impulse map. Select any point of interest in the star system to plot a course to that destination.
You see, this is what I was saying. Like, everybody has to do their job. Like, the engineer has to give you enough power boost on your engines, so that way you can have that thruster, so you can use the warp speed that you can get to your destination. Let's say we're going to go to the debris cloud.
Now return to the local view and steer the ship to line up with your plotted course.
So that's all we got to do. Move our ship around. Then we're going to be good to go. You can look externally if you like. That's what I like about it. As you're moving your ship. And this is why I say you want to use the Oculus Touch controllers. It's much smoother. It's much better and much smoother experience instead of using PlayStation Move.
Grab and push your throttle to engage the impulse drive. The ship's computer will automatically follow the course you plotted.
There we go. So that's pretty much what a Helm person does. Now let's go to the topics. Let's go to the station menu. So we covered the captain, we covered the helm. Let's cover the tactical. Tactical is the one with the weapons. That's the one that's in charge of the weapons right here.
As the tactical officer, you are in charge of the ship's weapons, defenses, and scanners. In combat situations, you must coordinate with the rest of the bridge crew to protect the ship and deal with any threats to it. But you also have a crucial role in non-combat situations. It is the tactical officer's responsibility to scan nearby ships and other objects in the environment to reveal vital information about them.
Okay, so for example, let's say I want to select a target. You can scan and select a target. Basically, you're looking at the radar to see if there's any targets there. Then you can scan them, see who they are. You can talk to them first before you engage them. And then this is important. Make sure that your shields are activated while you are talking to the enemy, because you don't know whether or not they're going to fire a weapon. So you always want to have your shields on when you're approaching any kind of unknown ship. So here.
In order to scan anything or to fire on it, you must first target it. To select a target, simply select the appropriate icon on your map. Once you've selected a target, a display will show all currently known information about your selection. Target a nearby ship by tapping its icon on the map.
Here, for example, this one. And I can scan it. and then the ship will show up right here. And then you can arm it and you can fire a weapon if you want. You can fire at it and it'll fire a torpedo at that ship, whatever it is over there, and it's gonna hit it. You will see it. There. Alright. There's also shields. Shields are very important that they're on. See right now? They're on. You can turn them off, but you want to make sure they're turned on. Anytime you approach the ship, you want to make sure they're turned on. Even he will tell you that right here.
As tactical officer, you have control over raising and lowering the ship's shields. When raised, the shields will charge up to maximum strength over time. They are your best defense against damage to the ship. When shields are lowered or down to 0 strength, any damage to the ship may cause serious harm to onboard systems, or even loss of life to your crew. When shields are raised, the chief engineer can direct power to them to increase their effectiveness. Raise the shields now.
There.
There is a delay while power is channeled into the shield emitters before the shields come online. In a combat situation, remember that you need to raise shields before the enemy fires.
But, yes, but this is what I heard from the multiplayer experience. It's always best idea, whenever you approach an unknown ship, to have your shields on. Because you don't know whether or not that ship's going to fire. So, I'm just saying, you know. Here, now it's armed, you can fire at it. I already did that, I fired. So, let's go back to a station menu. Now, this is engineer.
As chief engineer, you support all other members of the bridge crew by keeping the Aegis operating in top condition. You monitor vital status information about the ship's systems, allocate power needed for maneuvering and combat, and manage the ship's power grid to compensate for damage or boost its capabilities. You also manage the ship's repair teams and keep an eye on how visible the Aegis is to other ships in the area.
So my job is to make sure, as an engineer, that my engines are all powered up and good to go for my Helm person over here, the navigator, so he can use the warp speed and he can go ahead and get us to destination, give us a half speed, full speed. So the engine, my job as an engineer is to make sure that he has enough power on the engines so he can get us to where we need to go as a navigator. And if there's any problems here, I can repair it, click repair. If it needs to be repaired, I can adjust it and repair it. So engineer is a pretty simple job, you know, being an engineer. And most likely you will be an engineer, and your captain will get upset if you are not paying attention, if you're not, like, you know, making sure that your engines are up to speed, so that way your helm person can get us to where we need to, or whether or not you're repairing the shields. You know, you are in charge of repairing this ship. Okay?
How you allocate power determines how effective each of those systems is. As situations change, you'll need to communicate with the rest of the crew to keep them supplied with power and to anticipate when to make critical adjustments. One of your most essential responsibilities as chief engineer is to distribute available power between each of the ship's major systems. Try giving maximum power to engines now.
Here.
Now try giving maximum power to shields. You will have to reduce power to other systems first.
It's kind of like balancing it out. I like to keep it balanced. There it is. There. And repair. This is pretty simple stuff. Honestly, once you get a hang of it, once you understand how to do this, it becomes more enjoyable. when you're playing multiplayer or when you're playing a single player. I suggest, this is why I'm doing this video, I suggest that you go ahead and go through all these tutorials, so that way when you want to go to the multiplayer and play with other people, that way you are all set. There's one more thing I want to mention before I end this video. You as a captain also have the ability to give orders to the crew. You can give any orders to the crew, and you can also relieve them from their positions. That's why you're the captain.
When playing alone or with AI members of the command crew, the captain gives orders to the AI officers. To give an order to a specific officer, look at them and use the orders system to select from the available commands. Remember, some commands will first require that you select a target or destination. Try ordering your chief engineer to prioritize power to engines. Some orders apply to the entire crew. To access these orders, look towards the central console in front of you. First, select the closest ship from your local map. Then try ordering the crew to investigate it.
Alright, so basically what you want to do, you want to hold the B button on your right touch controller, and then you can give the orders. You just basically have to look at the helm, look at the tactical weapon person, or you look at the engineer. In this case, we need to look at the engineer. We can tell the helm person to get some speed, get the half speed, or I can relieve him. I can actually relieve him. This is the cool thing. I can give him the orders, or I can go ahead and relieve him. Look. Oh, it's like.
Aye, engines to half speed.
Same thing right here. Let me show you. Basically, you can go ahead and take over AI. This is what I was talking about.
Sometimes, as captain, you may wish to take temporary control over another command station. This allows you to perform any of the functions of that role, then return to the captain's chair when ready. You cannot, however, take control of a station currently being operated by another player. To take control of another station, look at any of your AI command crew and activate orders mode. Now choose the Take Over option. You can return to the captain's chair at any time by tapping the orders mode button again.
So this is what's so cool. Like, not only can you give these people orders because you are the captain, but at the same time, if they're not listening, you can go ahead and take over. Now, this is only available on the on the single player AI. You cannot do that on the multiplayer. But I think they should do that. You know, unless you're the host of the multiplayer game, I guess you can kick somebody out. You can do that. So let's say I want to take over the engineer, right? Just take over, and now I'm the engineer. Let's say I want to take over the for example, control the helm guy. I just click here and I can do that as well. So, you know, it's pretty simple. The game, it's very simple in terms of getting used to it. In the beginning, it might seem kind of confusing, but once you get a hang of it, once you understand where everything is and how everything works, and once you understand what each member of the crew does, once you understand what the captain does, description of the captain's job, description of the navigation helm guy, description of the engineer personnel and tactical weapon personnel. Once you understand what every and each of these individuals' character does, then it just becomes more enjoyable. It becomes more fun. Now, this game will have different experience online. You know, you're gonna have some people that they don't know how to do it, they don't know how to play it, Then you're gonna have some people that are just being jerks, you know, they're being idiots or purposely just bullying. So I recommend that you play this on the multiplayer, but with friends, someone you know, play as a team. But sometimes it's fun just to go online and just random people and just it makes it for a good video, it makes it for a funny video sometimes. So this game, it's a lot of fun. You know, if you're into Star Trek, if you love Star Trek, you're really gonna enjoy this game. And if you love VR, you're gonna be really immersed in the VR with this game. So I like this game. It's a really good game, and so far it's been getting a lot of good reviews. And the main reason why a lot of people like this game is not just because of Star Trek, but also because of its social aspect of it. You know, it's a really awesome social game that has a lot of replay value, and above all, it's fun. That's what's make this game so unique. It's fun. You know, it's a fun factor. Alright, so there it is, guys. Hopefully you like this video, and I'll try to do some more of these videos in the future. Might do a live stream, might even do some multiplayer. I might record some multiplayer and show it to you guys how it looks. I'd say go with the PC version, go with the Oculus Rift, it's much better. If you have HTC Vive, that's fine, but just remember with the HTC Vive, you can still use those big giant controllers. The problem is just they don't work as effectively as the touchscreen controllers. Alright guys, well, thank you for watching. Have a good one though. Take care. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial video.